We'll get it started.
Yes. But we are moving next month. Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So glad to see everybody here. I'm sure there'll be some more people coming in, but we're going to go ahead and get started. We're honored to have such an incredible group of individuals gathered to learn more about the vital role of recovery coaches and the impact that they have on individuals and the community. Before we begin, we want to take a moment to recognize the Connecticut Community for Addiction Recovery, better known as CCAR, for being at the forefront of recovery coaching. CCAR has been a pioneer in shaping the field, setting the standard for ethical, person-centered recovery coaching, and trained thousands of coaches nationwide. Their work has helped shift the recovery landscape by emphasizing hope, empowerment, and the belief that recovery is possible for everyone. Recovery is a lifelong journey, and no one should have to walk the path alone. That's where recovery coaches come in. A recovery coach is a guide, a mentor, and a source of encouragement for those navigating their own path to wellness. They provide non-judgmental support and help connect people to resources and empower individuals to take charge of their recovery, whatever that may look like for them. So I'm Ashley. I've been working at the Café since 2019, and I'm a recovery coach professional. I am honored to be here today with all these wonderful coaches, and I'm grateful everybody's here.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you, Ash.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Hi, my name is Ali. I've been with the Café for over a few years, and I've done numerous things, but one thing I'm very passionate about is the recovery coach, because it's that peer-to-peer, that lived experience, and that kind of, like, you get to walk with that person because you know where they've been, in a sense, and you know how to help them, because a lot of times, we're very bad at being told what to do. So, that's my share. Today we have the privilege of hearing directly from some of our dedicated recovery coaches that will share some insight about their work, their challenges, and success they've witnessed, and the ways they help build fulfilling, self-directed lives in recovery. As we go through the discussion, we encourage you to listen in open mind and heart. Recovery is not just an individual effort, it's a community effort. And the more we understand and support one another, the stronger and the healthier our communities become. It's a big change, right? So without further ado, let's welcome our panel of recovery coaches.
Great. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Yes. My name is Melissa. I'm standing up because I project better. My name is Melissa. I became a member at the Café in 2019. I took the Recovery Coach Academy and became a recovery coach in 2020. And since then, I have become a coach advisor. I am a recovery coach professional, and I am also a recovery coach professional facilitator. The Café has changed my life in numerous ways. I can't even begin to say them all. So, yeah, I'm going to sit back down and let loose.
Thank you, Melissa.
Introduce yourself.
I'll stand up too, because I have a little voice, they say. So my name is Luz Torres. Thank you. And I got involved with the Café, I think in 2023, looking for a space to kind of further my professional career, and found something completely different. The Café has expanded and grown the way that I look at recovery and the way that I travel through the world in a way that I thought it never would. And I'm incredibly grateful to have been asked to work through the Café and coaching alongside a lot of really amazing people that I'm grateful to be with on a regular basis. So thank you for having me here today.
Thanks,
Thank
Liz.
you.
Thank you, Luz. My name is Jack Morrison. I'm going to use my radio voice so that I don't have to stand up. I began my recovery in 2016. That very same week, I discovered the Café and became a member. In 2018, they invited me to take the CCAR recovery coach training. Also that same day, they asked me to come to work for them, and it was a very, very easy decision. So I have been an active recovery coach since 2018, and up until recently, I have been practicing that at the Recovery Cafe, where I've learned all kinds of cool stuff, like trauma-informed care and just the power of community. Yeah, that sounds good.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you, Jack.
Thanks, Jack.
My name is Mike. I became a member back at the Cafe in 2022 when I was starting my sobriety journey. The Cafe was a place that allowed me to grow, and soon after I became a member, I was enrolled into the Recovery Coach Academy, where I became a coach soon after that, and yeah, it's been a blessing. The Cafe has became a big part of my life, and I feel grateful that I'd be able to help out somebody just through my lived experiences and allow them to grow, and because I've been there, so yeah, it's been important. So thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Mike.
you.
All right, so the first question that we're gonna start out with is gonna be for Jack. And it is, what is a recovery coach and how do they support individuals in recovery?
Well, technically, we'll start there. A recovery coach is an individual who's been specially trained and educated to help people create long and short-term goals, create the steps to reach those goals, and direct them towards the resources pertinent to those goals. But beyond that, we are cheerleaders, we are confidants, we are shoulders. We're there on the front line helping these people realize their own self-worth again, re-realize their own self-worth. We get to be there when they discover they can, after years of not thinking they could. But yeah, no, we're companions.
Thank you, Jack.
Thanks, Jack.
Again, my name is Ali. I have a question for Luz. How does recovery coaching differ from like 12-step programs, sponsorships, and therapy?
Therapy. Well, first, we're not therapists, and this isn't a 12-step program. This is a peer-to-peer, walk alongside realization of empowerment for people that I had something in my brain earlier today to answer this question. I think there's something about lived experience and walking alongside somebody that is completely different, and the power alongside people that coaching brings that is completely different from 12-step and is not therapy, right? Like that's a professional thing that you go and you pay money for, and this is a service that is provided to our community because we love our community.
Thank you.
Good job, Luz. Okay, Mike, what are the core values of recovery coaching?
Core values, very good question. So I kind of took this in like two different parts. So when I was being coached, some of my like core values that I was looking for in a coach was someone that was there to listen, someone that was compassionate, someone that would also tell me the truth, and not just what I wanted to hear. So it's a good balance to that. So on a coaching side of that, the values of our coaches is trust and respect, show compassion, support. I think advocacy is a huge one because we're that voice for them, because sometimes early in recovery you don't really have a voice or even the knowledge to go somewhere or do something right. And also confidentiality too. We keep a lot of everything private too. So those are like the core values.
Thank you.
Mike.
Thanks, Mike. Melissa, I have a question for you. Can you share an example of a time when coaching made a significant impact on your life and what value it brought to you?
Yes, thank you, Al. So when I became a member back in 2019, I became part of the coaching program myself. And Ashley was my recovery coach. And I didn't know what to expect. You know, I was nervous. I was like, what are we going to have to talk about? Like, how is she going to, what is this going to do for my recovery? And the first time that we met, all of those fears and all of those nerves were put to rest. She helped guide me through a recovery wellness plan, and that plan became the roadmap for my recovery. And so we would meet, every week. And, Ashley believed in me before I could believe in myself, which is something I didn't have in my life for years. I never believed that I could really do anything. And then towards the end of our coaching, she came to me and she actually asked if I wanted to be a recovery coach, and that I didn't even think that was possible. I didn't even know that happened. And so I said yes, and she helped me get into the Recovery Coach Academy, and that changed my life. The way that Ashley coached me, I coach like that now. She advocated hard for me all the time. And, the way that I am with my coachees and the way that I am as a coach advisor was shaped incredibly by the time that we spent together. And,
Enough.
No. So it brought value to my life because it showed me that I could do more. I could give back in a way that I never thought possible, and that gave me purpose. So without the coaching program, I definitely would not be sitting here today. And so, yeah.
Thank you, Melissa.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, where's the tissue?
None.
I used them all.
All right, Mike, what would you say a typical day looks like for a recovery coach?
Typical day, pretty relaxed. I mean, I don't know. Being honest, I mean, I don't know. Well, I mean, for me, like I'm constantly at the cafe working throughout the week and stuff. So we do a lot of like switching hats and a lot of bouncing around. But like when I'm done with my session with my coachee, I mean it's a good hour of listening, engaging, and responding and guiding, and just kind of just being there and just going throughout the motions and seeing what they need and what they actually are looking for that time period. So
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Jack.
Ali.
Jack. How do recovery coaches build trust and rapport with people they support?
How do recovery coaches build trust and rapport with the people they support? Through patience, through time, through empathy. People in early recovery, before you hit early recovery and you're in active addiction, you're constantly in survival mode. Minute to minute. Some people are like this for months before they get into recovery. Some people are like this for years. If you've never been in that situation, it'd be very hard to understand what's going through their minds. For a lot of them, trust has just been stripped out of their vocabulary. There is no trust. So one of the things I learned as a recovery coach is that there's something called attunement and consistency. Through attunement and consistency, you can slowly but surely begin to create a trust bond with somebody. Attunement is making sure that this person feels heard, they feel safe, and they feel cared for. Making sure there's no distractions when you're in the room with this person, maybe making sure that you are focused on them and listening, not coming in with a predetermined decision, keeping your mind clear, listening to them. And it takes time. It takes time. It's not always 100%, but that's what they need. They need those three things: to be heard, to be cared for, to be understood. So patience. Patience.
Thank you, Jack.
Good answer, Jack.
Melissa, what strategies do recovery coaches use to help people navigate challenges in early recovery?
So first off, I feel like the training that we take for the RCA gives us many tools. Actively listening, asking good questions, treating them as a resource, which is a lot of times, something we don't even know, like it empowers us, like in early recovery. And then also, as a coach, learning to manage your own stuff, that plays a huge part. We are peers, and we share our stories at certain times to help, people understand that, we were once there as well. And then the recovery wellness plan is huge. It helps us set goals in things like connection to the recovery community, physical health, emotional health, which is something a lot of us don't even understand, and until we sit across from our recovery coach. Setting those goals, and then we break them down into SMART goals so they're achievable. And I feel like that breaking that down and helping them, fill out steps to these goals. Who's going to help us reach these goals? A time frame for this. That helped me, and I feel like every time I sit across the table from a coachee, I feel like that helps them as well. So,
Thank you.
Luz, I have a great question. I think this applies to everything in life. But how do you practice self-care to prevent burnout?
Well, first of all, just because you work in the recovery community does not mean that that is your only form of recovery, right? Like self-care and taking time away is very personal, and it has to be priority, right? You cannot continue to pour out of yourself and expect to have that be sustainable, right? And so we practice what we preach. We follow our own wellness plan. We create spaces and time to focus on individual things that are going to allow myself personally to rest and take time away so that I come back as best I can. And then also, through the Café, we're given more supports, right? Like I have my coach advisor, so when I'm navigating things that seem tough, or I have questions, like there's always somebody that I can go to and be like, hey, what do you think about this? Or this was really hard. Can I just share this with you so I don't have to carry that load all the time? And I don't know, like, sorry, I'm gonna probably take a little bit longer.
Yeah, this is good.
The Café itself holds such space for everybody that is involved in it, right? Like the recovery circles and the community that it builds, and the sitting at tables during meal times, and just being a part of is so much more than I would have ever thought it would be for myself. And I love being a part of the expansive Café community. That's it.
good answer, Luz.
Thank you, Luz.
Thank you, Luz.
That brings us into our next part. She mentioned coach advisor. Melissa, do you want to explain what a coach advisor is and what their role is?
Yes. So for me, it all boils down to one thing, and that is support. So some of our coaches followed the same path that I did, where they were coached and then they became a coach. Others like Luz, who became a coach, came from outside organizations. But there's that support piece. Our coaches are gonna, come into times when maybe they don't have the right answer, or maybe, they don't know how to, fill out their progress notes properly, or sorry, it's not even Luz. It's not even Luz. I'm sorry, Sharon. Yes, you too. I'm sorry. See, it's needed. It's definitely needed. So part of coaching, I feel like, and I may talk about this again, is finding your art. I learned that very early on. I learned that from somebody who used to do the trainings. And so I feel like as coach advisors, it's our goal to walk alongside of our coaches to help them develop that art. I know that for me, when I went from being coached to being a coach, it was scary. It was really scary because I didn't want to do any harm, right? So until I could find my niche, my art, I would go and I would talk to Nick, who's one of the other coach advisors, the original coach advisor, the OG coach advisor, as he would put it. So the other part in that is that we are also there for the coachees. Nick and I and Mike, we definitely hold space for the coachees to come to us if they have questions or they have concerns, or if they aren't sure what to expect. We do intakes with the coachees, so we bring them into the program, and part of that is sitting with them for I don't know, like 5 to 10 minutes, and like getting to know them so that we can pair them with the best possible coach, because we definitely want that experience to be amazing and the best it could be for both the coach and the coachee. And we also during their coaching program, we follow up and we sit down and make sure that everything's going good, and we check in to make sure if they have any questions that they can ask us. We have an open door policy, so we have coaches and coachees coming in and out of our office all the time, and we really like that. So but it all comes back down to support. Without support, where would all of us be? I feel like everybody needs a support person. So our coaches need coaches.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Mike, question. What kind of ongoing training or like professional development do recovery coaches receive? What's that like?
It's a great question. So like we were talking about earlier, CCAR provides a lot of trainings. The Recovery Coach Academy is where we like to have everybody start. So that's kind of like the intro into becoming a coach, and then you get once you get that under your belt, we have a lot of different other trainings like professionalism, coach advisor training. We have ethical considerations, spirituality. And a lot of these trainings are tailored towards coaching, so in like a coaching environment. So yeah, so that's a lot of the trainings that we do. That we have.
Awesome.
Thank you.
How do supervisors support recovery coaches in handling tough situations?
That's a good one. All of us as coaches are going to run into a situation. Maybe we don't know a resource that that we don't know, that if the coaches come to us and ask, we can find that resource. Whether it be going to our resource coordinator, who is amazing, and asking her. I think the best thing that we do is that we let the coaches know and help them feel safe to come to us, to talk to us, because it's better to come to somebody and process something. Role playing, I feel like, is a big thing that a big kind of like tool that I've fallen into lately. We also meet with them once a month, and we have coaches that are assigned to us, but we also let them know that they can come and talk to Mike, Nick, or I. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be that one person. But I sit down with them once a month, sometimes twice a month, and first I hold space for them to talk about anything they want, because coaches are going to have things in their own life, and one of the tools that I talked about was managing our own stuff. So that is their space to talk through their stuff if they need to. And then we go on to, how's this coaching going? How's this coaching going? And then I'll check their progress notes at that point, and I make sure that they know that I'm not there to, critique their notes. I just want to make sure that, they're just lining up properly. And then if we talk about which coaches which coachees are going to be graduating, and then how many more spaces they have open, because we definitely want to make sure that the coaches are coaching the amount of people that they feel comfortable with. Because if you're somebody who feels comfortable with 6 or 7, but we've got you with 10 or 11, then that's just way too much, and that coaching experience isn't going to be great for every single one of those. So just that open communication, I feel like, is going to help handle, or help them work through any tough situation that comes their way. So yeah.
Thank you.
Oh man, thank you, Melissa. I was just in trance with what you were saying. I'm like, yeah. I was like,
My plan is working.
Yeah, that's so true.
A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, because if you get overloaded, you just
Yeah,
right.
definitely.
Where are we at?
Right
He
here.
really was in
Where it
trance.
says Ali.
I think your name's right there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah. Well, this is a funny question. What is the biggest challenge recovery coaches face in their work? Mike?
That's for me, right?
Yeah. Right.
So I mean, it's kind of like on the lines of what Melissa was saying, just managing your own stuff. So I mean, for us to be able to hold space for someone in that capacity, we have to have our own space, you know what I'm saying, to be able to do that. So so having like a plan and like strong outside support is super important for us as coaches. So not only just relying on what we have at the cafe, but something outside of there, just so we can either you know, take a step back and fill our own glass, so we can you know what I mean, help out somebody else. So I think that's probably would be like the biggest challenge. And besides that, finding like your own coaching style, you know what I mean? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Just figuring out how you can engage with the coaching, and once you find that, everything's pretty smooth after that. So.
The art.
The art. Thank you. Yes.
Thanks, Mike.
Jack, what are
What?
some of the biggest challenges people face in early recovery, and how do you help?
Some of the biggest challenges people face in early recovery, and there's quite a few, actually. So imagine somebody's just coming out of treatment. They've been in there for a couple of months. Somebody's just coming out of detox after a week. Most people in early recovery find themselves facing this big jumbled ball of things to do. Find a sponsor, go to meetings. Eventually there's going to be housing, there's going to be employment, and it's all in this big, huge, confusing ball. I remember my first day out of detox, I couldn't even tie my shoes. You know, it was just, everything was strange and scary and confusing. What we do is we take that big jumble of stuff and we lay it out. We separate it out into, you know, it's called a wellness plan. We do a wellness plan, and the wellness plan separates it into a section on employment, healthcare, daily living, and put it into a perspective that they can look at individually, decide which one's the priority at the moment, and then we can work our way piece by piece into it. We help them slow down that thinking process so they can manage the rest of their recovery around this goal. Yeah.
I love that. It's like
Yeah.
untangling a ball of yarn.
It basically,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
I think of it like fishing line.
Well, that's even worse.
It is.
That makes our job seem that much more important. I like it.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you, Jack. Luz, how does recovery coaching help address social determinant of health, such as like housing, transportation, or employment? That's a determinant. Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry.
So there's a social stigma around being an addict, right, or being in recovery, or not fitting to a certain standard. And coaching gives agency back to people and reduces stigma and empowers them to identify and look at areas that they feel are important, right? And sometimes they aren't the things that we think they should be. Sometimes they, you know, like they're not interested in employment right now, or they're not interested in housing or anything like that. They just want to work on the relationship with their children, right? And they get to do that, right? And we just walk alongside them while they identify the areas they know themselves best, right? And we believe that, and we tell them that we believe them, and it empowers them to take power back that that has been stripped from them through a life of trauma and substance abuse or domestic violence or mental health, chronic homelessness, all of these things that that draw people into the cafe. I don't know, we give power back to the powerless, right? And that's, I don't know, that's it.
That was
I like
perfect.
Thank you, Luz. That was good.
Mike, what changes have you seen in individuals who receive recovery coaching?
Changes, man, positive changes. Just, man, a lot of these coaches come in really with no game plan, and like, you know, Jack was saying, we get that wellness plan, we start building some goals, break them down, and next thing you know, man, we got people enrolled in school, finishing school, completing recovery court, I mean, becoming part of the community, housing, I mean, employment, I mean, I don't know if I already said that, but rebuilding relationships, you know, I mean, just, and that one's huge too. I mean, like, just having someone sit across you that hasn't seen their kid in a while, or it's just their family in period, you know what I mean? And being able to to build a plan for them to see them, you know what I mean? And it's fulfilling, to say the least. But and I think that's the best part about coaching, is just be able to watch these coaches succeed and achieve all the goals, you know, and being a part of it. So yeah, so there's a lot of positive things. It's awesome. Yeah.
Thanks, Mike.
Melissa,
Yes.
this is a good one, because stigmas. How does recovery coaching help reduce stigmas around substance use disorder?
It's huge. Big one. I think one of the ways is when we coach, we're coming from our own lived experience, right? You know, sometimes, you know, we were once there, like when we're sitting across the table from our coaches, we were, you know, right where they were at one point in time. You know, but we, you know, through hard work, and just like, you know, we faced our fears. We still do every day. And, you know, just being that light in a sense for, you know, somebody who's just beginning, I feel like that helps reduce that stigma for them. I think that's a key part in it, because a lot of us come into the cafe a little broken, a little, you know, fearful of what's going to happen going forward, and even if we can make it going forward, right? I didn't know when I one of my main goals in my recovery wellness plan was to learn how to live in recovery, because up until that point I had no idea. And so I think we show our coachees that recovery is possible, you know, and that it's a never ending, you know, it's a constant thing in our lives. You know, we're never going to be recovered. We're always going to be working in recovery. We also, coaching is person-centered, you know, so I mean that's one of our main things that we discuss often is that we're there for the coachee, whatever, you know, what they need, and we meet them where they're at. Because there are multiple pathways to recovery, and you can be in recovery from anything to be at the cafe, right? We talk about that in our morning announcements every day, that you know, what are we in recovery from? And there's a myriad of answers, you know, that come from the people in the cafe that day. We treat them also as a resource. That was a foreign concept to me until I took the Recovery Coach Academy. I mean, Ashley did a great job, but to put it in those terms, we treat people as a resource in their own recovery. We are empowering them to, you know, figure it out on their own. We're there to guide them, but really it's about them, you know, coming up with their plan, you know, focusing on what they need and then carrying that out. And then another way I feel like we reduce stigma is by offering the trainings that we do to the community. We're asking the community to come in and learn a little bit more, and maybe they want to take this forward in their future and become a recovery coach. So we do offer a lot of different trainings. And then I think, you know, we also have panels like this. We are working very hard to bring the community into the cafe and to let you guys see, you know, what's going on, and hopefully you guys will want to become a part of us. I think that we do all of this in hopes of reducing that stigma.
Thank you, Melissa.
Okay, thank you to our panelists for the great discussion that we've had so far. We'd like to now turn to our keynote speaker. He is the founder and board president of the Snohomish County Recovery Coalition, the 2024 recipient of the Recovery Champion Award from Washington Recovery Alliance. He is a donor and partner of the Everett Recovery Café. Please welcome
Eric
Velez.
I love the cafe so much I sacrificed my Saturday morning.
Yeah.
The only thing that gets me up this early are 8 McMuffins and deep white water.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I cover that. I already mentioned a few things that I do. I'm also the Snohomish County Therapeutic Court Recovery Support Coordinator, so I work for Snohomish County. I also work with the Multi-Agency Coordination Group as well for the opioid response. When I first started my job a few years back, I was the first person to do it. Brand new job, brand new role. So I go to the Recovery Cafe because I was like, I'm doing it. I'm going to also mention, I might swear I'm sorry. So
Yeah.
it slips out of me. So I'm talking to Sarah and Joey and Jack. And I'm like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to show. They're paying me a lot of money too. So I have these amazing conversations. And then afterwards I go, I think I just got coached. I think they just coached me. I think that's what that is, right? It's like a Jedi mind trick or something. I'm also a counselor, so I know what that's like. As my girlfriend always goes, when you don't do that, your voice changes. I can tell when you're counseling me. I can get like an octave lower. So they helped to form what I was going to do and how I was going to do it. So I wasn't going to be a coach. I had 100 plus clients. There's no way I was going to be a coach. I was going to be a coordinator. I was going to connect people to the resources. I was going to connect people to the people if I could truly help them. Wow. Currently in our community, we're facing an epidemic. People refer to it as an opioid epidemic. It's not opioids. It's an epidemic of despair. This complete lack of connection and community. It's lack of hope that's killing people. Opioids is just one tip of one iceberg. I work in community behavioral health and social work. Those things imply community. They imply social. They imply social supports that for a lot of the people we work with, they don't have. They don't have those things. They don't have community. They're isolated. They're stigmatized. They may come from a family. For a lot of us that work in this field, we're drenched in our own trauma. When we come and walk through the door, we have our own issues that we're dealing with, right? And there's this old adage, it takes a village. Where's the village? The village is defined by a few hundred to a few thousand people. What if the cafe was the village? It could be. What if it becomes that nexus point, that point of support for everybody that needs it? The importance of the third place. Is everyone familiar with the term the third place? You spend most of your time at home, most of your time at work, and you need a third place. A place to commune, like Cheers, probably a bad example. A place where everybody knows your name, right? Starbucks spends millions of dollars to try to make them the third place. Café does it for free. Coaching is a pillar to the good continuum of care. It's important as medically assisted treatment and as outpatient services. And I can say that because technically I am an expert, according to the state, in substance use disorder. Isn't that fun? Got a whole license and shit with it. Cool. It's important. It's extraordinarily important. The work they do is often more important than the work that's happening in IOP. We consistently have medicalized the social problem. Consistently. It's not a medical issue, it's a social issue. We need to treat it as such. How do we treat a social issue?
Connection.
Yeah, there you go, baby. Appreciate you, Ali. Always got my back.
Always.
When you walk through the Recovery Cafe, if Ali knows you,
Hi.
you're gonna know. You're gonna know he knows you.
Right.
As you walk through the door. It's like a little piece of sunshine. Always makes me happy whenever I see it. The work they do, and I'm gonna borrow from Kyle here, is transformational. Transformational. So impactful to our community. If you've ever worked with someone, and they finally get to a place, they look different. There's a light that kind of pops. Their eyes look different. Their skin looks different. The way they carry themselves looks different. It's an amazing, amazing field to see. Amazing thing to see in this field. So, that's why I donate to the Recovery Cafe. Because of the work that they do and the impact that they make. And I'm going to explain to you what it means to my recovery. That's another thing, I'm a person with lived experience. 15 years ago, I was referred to as precariously housed, which means not. I was about panhandle to pay for drugs. now I'm in a position, and this reflects the quality of my recovery, that every month I have a checking account, which I wasn't allowed to have 15 years ago. They wouldn't give me one. Or a credit card, or an address, that I give money to a worthy cause. Feels good. It feels really good. There's so many things that have to converge together for me to do that. It's a reflection of the quality of my own recovery. It's a reflection of the potential for people to be and to change and to grow and to overcome. And that happens at the Recovery Cafe every day. Every day. So I would encourage you all who are here right now to stop on in for a cup of coffee, maybe some soup. It's always soup, right? You guys always make soup.
Organic.
Salad.
And salad. Nice conversation among some amazing people. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Evie. We appreciate you. For our final round of questions, we want to talk about the future of the Recovery Coach program and how you can be involved. Luz, how can the community members support recovery coaching efforts?
I think becoming a resource yourself, knowing your community, showing up for things like this, and taking time to be a part of, to know your neighbors, to be willing to share some of your own experience and set them on a path to send them to us, right? Send them to us. That's it. I think just we empower people to realize their own worth and their own ability to share and give back, and becoming a part of that yourselves is vital for the lives of our community members. So that, now I'm done.
Thanks, Luz.
Yeah.
Thanks, Liz. Thanks, Liz. Now back to you, Jack.
Thank you, Ali.
All right. What do you hope to see in the future for the recovery coaching and peer support services?
We need more community education. We need to light these services up so that everybody can see them. We need them in prisons. We need them in county jails. We need recovery coaching in hospitals. We need them in schools. Every corner of our community should have these kind of services so that there's not one homeless, suffering person who can't walk into a door and get them. They need to be everywhere. You know, we lose a lot of people almost every day. No, every day. There are humans out there who are leaving us because they don't have access to these kind of services. And it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't be happening. They're people, they're humans. And they're worth it. They're worth the community support to get more of these programs, more of these services, more of these opportunities for people to get their lives back, reshape them. I'm getting emotional, sorry. I'm a crier. There shouldn't be one person out there that can't have access to it. It's gotta be everywhere. I mean everywhere. If we can start here in Snohomish County, which, you know what? It's a good start already. It's just not enough. We've got a good start. When I was out there, we didn't have most of these services. The Café was like the spearhead to this kind of thing. I'd never heard of it before. Of course, it was the free soup that got me in the door. But whatever works, you know. We need more, and it takes the community support to get those. They don't just pop up. So yeah, I think it's time we got serious about saving some lives.
Jack.
Follow that.
I know, right?
The next question is so not emotional that I feel weird even reading the next question.
I
now
feel
because
weird
that was-
answering the next question now.
Sorry.
No,
Okay.
that's good, Jack.
So the next question, Melissa, is can anyone become a recovery coach, and how do they start the process?
So yes, anybody can become a recovery coach. We need you. Like, we need people from all walks of life to fill every niche, because when we sit down with people to give them coaches, I'm asking, what do you want to coach? What your hobbies are, so I can like find some sort of common ground. And I usually can find something like, I'm looking for a coach that, has been reunited with their children. I'm looking for a coach, that wants to follow in this certain career path. Or I'm looking for a coach that loves sports or loves music. I often pair Jack with people who love music. And so anybody can become a recovery coach. And I feel like we honor that by encouraging people to take our trainings. First off, you got to start with the Recovery Coach Academy, 4-day training, but you learn so much. When I took that training, I learned a lot about my own recovery. So you're working through a lot of your own stuff. You're managing your own stuff, and you're tackling the stigmas and the labels, and you're learning how to sit across from somebody. And motivational interviewing is a huge piece. I hear that. Things. How do you feel about that? And in order to become a recovery coach at the Café, we also ask that you take ethical consideration and professionalism. Those are the things that we require for you to come on board and coach with us. But really, like, it just all starts with the RCA, and then like what Mike was saying, we have like the ethics, the ethical consideration, professionalism, justice setting, emergency department, which is near to my heart. I hope, my end game is to be coaching in emergency departments, and I am realizing that, every day that I keep on going forward. That's my path. And so, you start with the coaching, and then you can go anywhere you want. Spirituality, what does that look like to you? Beyond CCAR, we also will get you with, hooked up with boundaries or conflict resolution, or, the motivational interviewing. All these things are going to fine tune your coaching, and you can go, you can stay at the Café, or you can go on to, different areas that, you feel are in your heart. And so it all begins with the RCA, but from there, the sky's the limit, really. So.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thanks, Melissa.
Thanks, Melissa.
I tried.
Oh, that's good.
You did more than try. That was
You made
great.
it beautiful.
Thanks.
Mike, back to you. Someone is interested in recovery coaching services. How can they connect it with the coach? What steps do they need to take?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. So we ask that everybody that wants a coach becomes a member first. So it starts with just coming to the Café and checking us out on Wednesday at noon. Come get on the list. So we have a sign-up list for Wednesday. And the new member introductions will be later that day at 3:45. So come in that day, get that done. And then soon after that, we ask about 3 to 5, or what is it, about
5 to 6.
5 to 6 circles that you've completed. And the circle is you get a circle after you become a member. So, and that's once a week for an hour. So what's that, about 5 weeks after you've gone your circles, come find me, Melissa or Nick, and we can get you lined up with the coach. So, yeah, it's a process.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. And then follow up on that, just to touch on it. So once somebody becomes a member, right, and then it doesn't just stop there, right? They got other things, right, besides the coaching part. Like if they need some other kind of assistance and they're waiting, what else kind of help do we help out with, like resource coordinator?
Yeah, we have tons of, I mean, we have like 2-on-1 that comes in. We have, what else? We got tons of people coming in there. I don't even have the list
VOA
right now.
helping
VOA, Helping
DV
Hands,
services.
DVS, tons of stuff.
We
Yeah.
bring the community into the Café so that the members, it's right there for them, because it's so much easier than calling, right? It's a lot easier to sit with 211 or Volunteers of America, or Helping Hands and legal service. We
And
do
legal
have a
services,
free legal
yes.
service that
Coming
comes
once a
in,
month, yeah.
and we'll help you with civil case.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. You guys are amazing.
Well, thank you.
So there was a couple questions that came up through the RSVP that I just got this morning. So we're just gonna go through and try and answer them the best we can. One question is, can someone who has been a coachee get a coach again? Melissa, do you wanna touch on this?
Yes. The answer is it depends, which is an answer that we use because a lot of there's life is situational, right? It depends on what organization you're a part of, because recovery coaching is not just at the Café, it's also in other organizations like Sound Pathways, and I think there's a couple different recovery houses that do it. The Mission does now recovery coaching, where Jack is. And so it's all about, what their guidelines are. At the Café, it's going to depend on, the support that you need. Have you, relapsed? Is there a specific event in your life? Maybe you've lost a loved one, or you've become homeless, or, you need that support. We are definitely going to try. We are going to try, because it's not a one and done deal for a lot of people. I've coached people more than once, and sometimes there are other coaches that have done that. Sometimes we like to switch it up and get you a new experience with a different coach. It's all up to what we can provide as an organization at that moment. It comes down to where we're at in the coaching program as well. So, but we definitely try.
I think it also has to do with times in between coaching as well.
Yes, yes. Yep.
Yeah, I'll touch on this a little bit too. Unfortunately, like, we would love to coach people. A lot of them don't want to be graduated. They want to continue coaching, and it most of the time comes down to the funding, to be able to fund them being on the program. And so we always take a look at that, and that's why a lot of times we have that like gap in between, because if we get like a new round of funding, like, we're able to like move them into that in the next fiscal year. So I just want to touch on that a little bit of why we don't just continue coaching them forever.
Yeah, but like you said, we wish we could coach longer than the 4 to 6 months.
Yeah.
So.
Another question is, how does the Recovery Café best inspire individuals to be their greatest version of themselves?
That's a good one.
Does anybody want to answer that?
I think Ali does.
Yeah.
You want me to read it again?
Yeah.
Okay. How does the Recovery Café best inspire individuals to be their greatest version of themselves?
Oh, that's amazing. That's an easy question. Yeah, that's an easy one.
Tell us more.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you a lot more.
Sit back.
Buckle up.
I know, right? So it's like I look at it like this, right? I love my parents, and they've been telling me things all my life, but I want to do this, and that's what the Café is. That's what the coaching is. Like, yes, they know what's best for you. Yes, they love you, but they're pushing you in this direction. So why not you be that blooming flower that you always wanted to be, right? No, I don't want to go to nursing. No, I want to go try this, right? Like, and that's what we're all about. Like, what do you want to do? What do you think you need? And that's what it's like. Who are you? That's the key thing. Who are you, right? So, like, what defines you? You only have one life. So let's appreciate you, because I recognize you. I see you for who you are, and I love you for that reason, because you're you. I don't want to make something up. I'm not here to because I don't want anybody to strip me from who I am. So for me to be understood is for somebody to listen and care about me, and that's the thing that I was kind of combative in my life, because I didn't get to do that. That was my hardship that I had as a kid, because I wanted to do something else. You got to go to tutoring, you got to do this, no, I want to do this, I want to do that. And I can't, like, you can't go into sports. So the first generation here, so a lot of those things that kind of trickled down with me in my life, where I can't do this. So in a sense, when I came there in a different style, where a person like kind of sees you and helps you, guides you, and breaks it down, like, of understanding of what you truly mean to yourself, and bringing that out is the best experience that you get to know about who you are. Because then you're more content, not in the sense of negativity, right? Because content can go different ways, but like, because you're not complacent, you're happy. You can be in a room with yourself and be okay.
you don't have to go look for somebody else to give you what you think your need in your heart, that belonging, right? Like, you're okay with who you are. You can be happy. Like, I never thought I could be by myself, because I always was with 1,000 people, hanging out here, doing all these things. But like, I'm so happy just being at home, because I know everything I got and I wanted. That was the key thing, right? Like, I want to do this. I want to have this. Like, even if I didn't succeed and I failed at it, then I knew it wasn't good for me. Well, let me figure that out. And that's what the cafe embodies, you know? And I think that's the holistic approach that we get to see, like, with the changes of who we are. And the good thing about us is, like, we're not like some kind of organization, right? We're like a family, you know? Like, we fight with each other like families. I'm so serious.
Not supposed to tell that.
Yeah, right? Like, we do that, you know?
Don't say that.
No, we gotta be honest.
Yes, I agree.
No, not like
I
a
agree.
big, like, we're not throwing hands, okay, you guys? No, like, in the sense, like, you know, we're so passionate that we get to, like, you know, express ourselves in a way where it's fiery sometimes, because we're advocates. We're like, you know, and then we get to walk away and come back and we're like, well, I'm sorry. Well, I see you. Like, then it's like, we kind of forget about what we're talking about. Like, no, it's you. And I'm like, what are we talking about here? Just get it done. You know, like, it's so cool. You know what I mean? That's the kind of place that we work for, that we get to do. Like, and it's amazing. So it's about seeing that person. Did I answer that question?
You did.
Yes, you did. And there's,
What question?
there's actually a second half to this
Oh, Lord.
question. So the second half is, what can we do as a community, as community members, to help support the work that the cafe is doing?
Oh, that's even the easier one. Okay, so community members. I mean, I think the community is the biggest thing in life, right? Because I never knew what that meant growing up. You know, I grew up in Seattle. I was in the Jackson Park Youth Tutoring Program. I had the Big Brothers Big Sister thing, all that, and I didn't understand community, so I wasn't really integrated in community. And then I think community is a great thing, because it means, like, it's your village. You know, you get to walk outside and you get to see your neighbor, you know, saying hi to you every morning, that knows everything about you, that knows your garage, right? That's a community. Community is a reflection of you, right? Of the person, right? And it's like the embodiment of humanity. So a community is a place, because if you go outside of Snohomish County, you feel kind of out of place. You want to go back home, because that's your community. So I feel like if the community is so involved with things like this, of this sort, you're helping each other instead of waiting for the problem, you know, like being involved. What does it mean? It's about giving money. It's not, people always kind of get the sense of like helping means giving money. No, it's giving your undivided attention to maybe see what best fits the need, you know. Being involved is the biggest thing about community. It's making sure we keep our lawns clean, we're looking out for our neighbors, and we're kind of tentative to each other, you know. Being involved, I think the community piece holds such, like, it holds so much weight, because you are, like, you're a family. You're a family. You're more than a niche. You know, you're a family. So I think community plays a great role in just the recovery aspect, you know, and it allows the person, like, when you reintegrate back in society in that social aspect, it's like they feel good about themselves, because they feel like they belong to that place. You know, they're not being shunned or expelled, right? You're not being, like, you're not disassociated from the tribe like back in the days where I banish you to the whatever, you know. No, you know. Then you gotta go. Then this elephant gotta look for a water buffalo. He feels like he's a water buffalo now, right? In that sense, if you kind of get that, right? So it's like he's got 3 legs and a missing tusk, but he feels home.
Yeah, spiraling. Okay.
No, that's good. I speak Ali.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think the best thing for community is what that means to me, in a sense, is like, it's going down to the places that are like this and seeing how you can help, be involved, and just get to know your peers, you know.
Yes.
and just show that compassion, that love, and that's the key thing I take away from this kind of. Thank you guys.
Thanks, Ali.
Thanks,
That was
Ali.
good. You tied it up nicely.
You're next.
I think we have a question
Oh.
that you're
Oh.
asking Ashley.
Oh yeah, that's great. Ali, read to Ashley. All right. Ashley,
what is your dream for the recovery coaching program at the Café? Ooh,
Good one.
that's a good one.
That is.
Dun dun dun. You know, my dream for the cafe and coaching has changed so many times over the years. Really, I just I want us to be able to support everyone, not have to ever tell somebody that we're not able to coach with them, or you know, a lot of times it comes down to certain grants. You know, they have to be in recovery from this or that. To be able to qualify to get a coach, and that is really tough, you know, because there's people who, you know, don't have a history with substance use who are looking for a coach, who have a history with, you know, DV or homelessness. You know, just everybody's in recovery from something, and they deserve an opportunity to be coached. I think that I would love to see the cafe have more of an outreach program for the coaching. Like Melissa said, like the emergency room. I know I've had many friends who end up in the ER, and they're turned away, right? Like they're just put back out. They're not sent to services that they need. And I feel like we could become like that hub for bridging the gap from the ER to treatment facilities to right back into the cafe, right? And have that like full circle. That would be like my big dream, would be to have bridge the gaps.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Thank
you, Ashley.
Thank you, Ashley. Well, now it says we would like to open the floor to the audience. We want to thank the panelists. Summarize key takeaway. No, thank the
I think we're asking questions.
questions first.
Do you guys have any
Does anybody
questions?
have any questions?
Yes,
Hey,
you.
everybody, Mike Boston here.
Hi.
I appreciate everything. It was brought up that on a small dynamic, I want to hear more, because it's something that's really, really important for all of us in this field of work. Self-care, healthy balance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously, you know, we can suffer a lot of secondary trauma, PTSD, we get triggered, we can suffer compassion fatigue, right? So, if we don't take care of ourselves, it's gonna be really, really hard to be the rock for those that we're serving in the community.
Yep.
You know, self-care examples, you know, are like, I took a few notes because Mike can't read, but, you know, like your social, friends, family, relationships, spiritual, personal health, physical health, personal growth, continued health, hobbies, etc. Those are all things that do contribute to a healthy balance. I would love to go across the board or hear from a few of you, if you're comfortable, sharing what do you do for your own healthy balance and self-care.
I'll say a little something on that. This is something that obviously, you know, is a work in progress all the time. But I think that one thing that I've really been trying to do for myself for self-care is just learning that it's okay to say no. You know, a lot of times I want to just say yes to everything, and really I don't want to say yes to that. So it's like I have to listen in here of like where I'm at and what I'm willing to take on right now. And you know, I think us having our own recovery support is so huge, because, and it doesn't have to be 12-step, it doesn't have to be, you know, everybody's path is different, but just having people that you can express like what you're going through and be able to share. For me, like just being able to unload makes me feel like that's self-care and it, you know, on its own. I mean, I do a lot of other things for self-care, but I think that we put labels on self-care and, you know, I don't know that it's really, I mean, I guess it's self-care.
You know what, if it makes you feel good or it's, you know, helping you out, anything can be
Something that I do
self-care.
for myself, yes. I mean, I try to journal too. That is really helpful for me.
So there's a couple things. I am terrible at self-care, not gonna lie. I think everybody up here can probably, I have learned as of late that my work can't be like my recovery, right? So I've seen it happen a lot lately where people who work in recovery make that their recovery. So I have to have my own healthy program. For me, what that looks like is, a sponsor, working steps, but also learning how to ask for help. I'm terrible at asking for help. And here I am, like sitting across from somebody asking them to ask for help, right? So I gotta walk the walk if I'm gonna talk this talk. And so as of late, I feel like I've gotten a lot better. I talk with my family a lot more. I was estranged from them for a while, but they let me back into their life, and those relationships are strong, really strong now. I also have a foundation, and just the people that I work with, like Ali was saying, we're a family, and I need somebody to coach me still. So I, rely on a couple people in the cafe to coach me, because like I said, we all need that support. And then, also I need to learn how to take a step back and sleep if I want to, or allow myself permission to do the things for self-care, which is huge. I'm working on that. It is a work in progress every day, and will be probably for the rest of my life. So.
You're gonna go get that massage?
Yes, I am going to. Ashley,
Same thing.
yes, Ashley was nice enough to get me a gift certificate to get a massage, and she has asked me now.
It's
I
paid
will.
for.
I
Go
know.
do
I
it.
know. I will do it after this panel.
Okay.
That is my commitment to you.
Okay.
That is my recovery wellness goal.
All right. We'll follow up with that next week.
Will?
Oh.
Oh,
No, he's go down the line.
yeah,
Oh.
I got it.
Yeah.
I tried to take over. That's my bad.
I think for me, when I entered into the cafe, I was coming from domestic abuse, and my circle was really, really, really small, and I never let anybody know me, right? I never told anybody the truth about myself ever, and I do now, probably to a fault, but living my authentic self on a daily basis, and showing up and saying I'm having a bad fucking day, or or I'm really grateful for this, has been really, really transformational for me, and I get that support through the cafe, along with I love 12-step recovery, right? Like I spend a lot of my time just working with and being with people who are living in the solution, whatever that solution is. And then also, you will find me at least 3 or 4 times a week down at the waterfront, walking like a fucking maniac, right? I got my headphones in. I don't care if it's pouring rain, and when my body is going as fast as my brain is, there's peace in that for me. And I get back in my car and I go back, and it allows me to be at home with my children and not want to tell them to be quiet, leave me alone, or it allows me to have space for other people and other responsibilities when I am taking care of myself.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Liz.
Yeah, everybody knows, well, most people should know about secondary traumatic stress and compassion fatigue, and it really does take a certain person to be able to do this work and not go out of their minds, right? You become an empathy sponge, a trauma sponge, right? An empathy pump, but a trauma sponge. And if you don't release this in some kind of, productive way, then it could do some damage emotionally, psychologically, which often becomes physically. And you'll find that most everybody that does this don't work on their own self-care, right? It's all about the people that we serve. And one of the things that I firmly believe, if we look at it from a trauma-informed care, it is my responsibility to look for the signs of secondary traumatic stress and compassion fatigue in the ones around me. And that's the way it should be with everybody, because we don't often feel it ourselves because we're so focused on helping all these people. So we need to watch out for each other.
Checking in.
Check it in. Hey, you all right? You know? Yeah, I'm fine. What about the hole in the wall you just put there?
I'm remodeling.
What?
I'm remodeling. That's
I
good.
thought it'd be a good spot for a poster. And it's a cycle, right? I help them, they help them, they help them, and it comes back. We're there for each other. We need to be able to release. If we don't release, we're in trouble. So get to know the signs of secondary traumatic stress, compassion fatigue. Look for it in the people around you. Encourage them to do self-care, because we can't often do it for ourselves, because that's just the way we are. All right?
Or just cry a lot.
Yeah. I like to play for me, I like to play guitar. I like to do nerdy stuff, and naps. Naps are awesome.
Thanks,
I wish I
Jack.
could make a living taking naps.
Don't we all? Don't we all?
Thank you, Jack.
Self-care for me, yeah. Probably the worst one on the panel right now was self-care, probably. But I work 2 jobs, Monday through Saturday. But with all that being said and done, Sundays I usually disconnect from everybody and kind of play some video games, relax, or do something along those lines. Very definitely into sports, a lot of sports. Usually Saturday mornings I sleep in, but
Here we are. Here we
But I'm
are.
here. But yeah, I mean, kind of what Jack was saying. It's about being like self-aware and like understanding what some of those signs are of compassion fatigue, and just being I don't know. I work around a lot of good people that check in on me too a lot too, which is super important. So yeah, just leave it at that.
Thank you. Self-care. Yeah, so my self-care, what I like to do is I like to walk around in my neighborhood sometimes, put on my headphones and just zone out and listen to music. Don't know where I'm going, just having a good time, laughing, smiling, waving at people. They probably think I'm crazy. It's amazing to me because I'm just tuned out from the world. Another thing I like to do is, like Mike said, I like to play video games. Please don't think of me in the wrong way, but like I'll get on the mic and then sometimes scream at little kids, So that's a good way for me to decompress, but sometimes they're better than me, so I'm like saying things to them.
Are you the one that's been yelling at my kid?
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, so it's pretty fun and amazing. And I like to connect with my family members there. I like to hang out with my little brothers, connect with family. And another big thing on my self-care thing is boundaries. Like I like to make sure I keep those certain boundaries. Like a lot of people know me, and I'm like very goofy, happy, funny, and things of that sort. And then sometimes if I'm like strong about something, I'll just do it without even answering, and just walk away from it and just come back and be like, hey, and I like to leave my work where I'm at, if that makes sense. When I walk out the door, it's my personal life. I like to make sure I'm in there as much as I can, and try to be active as much as I can. I do sober softball now with a great person. She's over there, her team. So yeah, I try to be as active and as I try to pay attention to myself now. That's what I try to do a lot of times. And then I'm reflective of myself, and I don't do the moral inventory. I don't check in myself on the day like, hey, what you done? Like I just the decompress part and refocus and retune and come back for tomorrow. What happened yesterday is gone. Today is here. In the future, if I make it tomorrow, I'll be blessed. Kind of sense.
Awesome.
Thanks, Ollie.
Thanks, Ollie.
Thank you.
Okay, there was hands that went up.
Well,
There we go.
Will?
Excuse me. Well, first of all, you guys are absolutely amazing, right? Question I have for you, right? When you go through these journeys and you see these barriers being changed, we're talking about reflecting on self, right? As you help people help themselves, how do you keep yourself humble?
Go, Ellie.
Not just
Ali?
Ali, go ahead.
I try to keep myself humble because what I like to do is I like to look at that person that's fresh in recovery, right? And then like the people with hardship, because that's my point right there, like my turning point, right? Like don't forget where you come from. Don't think you're better, because at any given moment, that brain of yours that you're telling you that you got it, that ego, that pride, those things that brought you down to your knees, humility from the world, because you had that that perspective, those lenses that you thought you were better or you were doing better, you feel better. Like it's okay to have things, but don't flaunt it in people's faces. Be humble, be pious, be a human, right? And it's because you want to be able to encourage people's growth. So what I like to do is I like to not, I try to never forget where I came from. That's always been my reflection. Like where you came from, so don't forget, because that same person that's walking the door, they can have the same thing in life that you can, right? I'm no different than anybody. If I want to be an executive, let's believe I can be an executive. That's not a hard thing, life. So it's like the piousness, the humbleness, right? Because I'm that same person that's that new face that's coming in the door, because I don't want to forget the forgotten, where I came from, if that makes sense.
Good job, Ali.
I just have one more addendum to that. Ali was my coach, and I just want to put that out there that he is the bomb.
Oh.
You know what I mean? And so, having somebody where you can deal with somebody on a one-on-one aspect, removing barriers like age, different isms, and being able to relate and be open to new advice. And I just want to tell you that certain skills, you can learn them, but they have to be embedded. You can be a coach, but there's levels to everything. And I'm just saying to you, you're amazing, Hope.
Thank
That
you.
was great.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you,
I
Will.
love that.
Questions?
For people that like work full time and something that's completely unrelated to people with this help, if those people want to help you guys to be successful in any way they can, what are the best ways to do that?
Are you talking about like?
I'm talking about myself.
Oh, okay.
You guys, and I work full time, and so you guys have the Wednesday, the member program and stuff. It's in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
And most of your circles are, during the week. I have time in the evenings and weekends that I would love to use my energy and time to keep you guys going. So how can I best do that for you?
Well, you can volunteer. Definitely, that is an option. And we do have stuff in the evenings, that we're needing support. Like we have a women's family circle on Monday nights. It'd be great to have somebody there just to fill space.
Play with the kiddies.
Yeah, help with the kids.
I think too, that if you have a special skill and you want to share it, we're always open to you coming in and providing a class for the members, or come
Sorry.
to our recovery. Oh no, that's not it.
I was giving it to
The,
Ashley.
the open house. We're having an open house.
Yes.
Coming up in April. That would be a great opportunity to come in and check out what's going on there and celebrate with us all of the other community members that have become a part of it. And then also, I know, because I've had to ask for this, like if we have people that want to become members and it is not convenient, they will hold another orientation at a later time in the evening, because we are person-centered and we want everyone to be able to become a part of the cafe in the spaces that they are available for. And so that can be something that can be arranged.
Yeah, what you did right there was perfect. How we help, how can you get involved? Communication, right? That's the key thing. Boom. And we also have a direct point of contacts with anybody and everybody here, and also everybody else that works in the cafe, operational manager, volunteer coordinator. We have sound bath in the later in the evening. So there's always a way to get involved, you know. And the beautiful thing is communication, because we don't know if we don't talk about it, right? So that right there is just, now we got a direct point of contact, and we can figure something out of how you can be involved in a way that maybe that you want to, you know, you see it, right? So that's amazing. So and the cool thing about it, excuse me, I'm just so excited.
I know you are.
Over there, right there. So if any of those business cards you feel like you want to go ahead and grab, it has the person, all of us, information, phone number, contact, email, you know, and then just be like, hey, I was at the panel, you know, I want to get involved, and what does that look like? And just move forward from there. Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Hi. I work with youth and young adults experiencing homelessness. Lucky enough to work with Luz. Are there specific things that you do when you're working with a youth or young adult in coaching? And do you have folks that are specializing in that area or maybe closer to the age?
So the cafe is 18 and up. So we don't usually have youth that we work with, but there is a recovery coaching for the youth training that you can take to expand. So you would take like the Recovery Coach Academy, and then, you know, ethics, professionalism, and then that's like an add-on so that you can learn how to support youth. So there is an avenue for that. We just don't, we don't have it.
Right.
Yeah. But you could.
Yes, definitely. Yes. Like, you know, it's about like getting the community involved in any way that we can. And so, you know, there's coaching and other avenues. And so, you know, I mean, I think that's a great avenue if that's, you know, the way that somebody wants to go. And there are, you know, other recovery cafes in the state that are working on having like a separate recovery coaching for youth. I think that's an area that should be explored. Right? Because a lot of us were in addiction, or from whatever we were in addiction from, starting really early, right? I mean, and so, you know, having that piece right there, that support piece, could have changed a lot of our lives. And so, you know, I would love to see that eventually, you know, in our county somewhere, you know, especially with you guys.
Yeah. It's kind of brings me back to, you know, the big overall dream. It's like, we have had so many coaches who, like, that is what they're on fire about. They want to work with youth, right? And so obviously, you know, things shift and transition, and we've had coaches that have gone on to other jobs, you know, but they utilize their coaching in their everyday. I mean, I use coaching with my kids, and I don't even realize
I coach everybody,
you know. So, yeah, it's true.
I know.
It's true. But yeah, I love the idea of having that support for the youth for sure.
Also, another thing is, I think that's a great question, is I think we kind of touched this topic, community, right? And what is a cafe? We have community partners that are involved with the youth. So you can always come inside and get involved with the cafe with our community partners that get involved with the youth. So there's always that piece. It's community, right?
I mean, we have one of our panelists that definitely works in that area.
Right.
So we try.
Any other questions?
I have a question. I want to acknowledge you guys, and since I spend a lot of my life at the cafe recently, you guys are all amazing. All of you amazing things. I wrote down a whole bunch of stuff, but I love the fact that give power back to the powerless is a huge thing. With my recovery houses, one of the requirements is that they come to the cafe and that they get in the circle and then eventually get a coach. And I just think that it's just so important. A lot of people don't understand the stigma in this and in recovery, and creating a wellness plan, meeting people where they're at, and just removing as many barriers as possible to be able to create what you guys continue to do on a daily basis is super important for what we do in helping people who are in whatever condition it is. So thank you guys.
Thanks you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your support.
Appreciate that.
You're always cold.
What is that? I might as well have been like already say this.
Yes.
Thank you so much for the momentum that this has created. It's so beautiful. I feel that you guys have so much to offer. And Jack, I related to a lot of things that you said, that we're in this epidemic of despair, and that we need all of us, wherever we're at, to come forward with our true authentic selves. All of you said so much beautiful, powerful information. And I feel like it's easy to be in this room with the momentum, and then we go back into our house and forget. So it is very committing in getting into community, a village of people, like-minded souls, 120. So my grandfather was in the DEA, and when he was passing, he was so sad that we still had this huge epidemic of drugs, because removing the drugs out of the country is not the issue. The issue is to bring funds and stuff. Grateful to be with you guys, and seize the day.
Thank you.
Thank you. You know, there's a reason that most of us that do this job are so passionate about it. And it's not because we see it, but many of us have lived it. Right? I've slept under bridges. I've slept behind 7-Elevens. I've slept in the mud. I've eaten food that shouldn't be eaten, you know. I was there. Most of us have lived that life. We've gotten to that rock bottom. We've had that despair. And through programs like this, we were able to completely and totally transform our lives. If you saw me back then, you'd be like, who's this dirty bum guy? You know, you wouldn't recognize me as I am today. And we want everybody to be able to do that. We want that transformation. It doesn't work all the time. Sadly, it's not 100%. It would be a perfect world if it was 100%. But it's enough. It's enough. I've always said if I can save 3 people out of 10, I'm doing a good job. Right? If we can do that, and the more we contribute to this solution, and the better the chances are that we can increase that. You know, we have ignorant people out there who just don't understand because they haven't lived there, and I think most of that is from fear, you know, where they fight against these kind of programs. I never will understand why they would do that. But we have lived the life, we've experienced the change ourselves, and we've seen the change in others. And it becomes kind of an infatuation, an addiction of its own to want that for other people. You know, we're very passionate about that, and we need help doing it.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you, Jack.
Jack.
Thank you. We want to thank the, what do you guys call each other? Penalists? No.
We were gonna be good.
Panelists.
We were
Panelists.
panelists. We made it to like the last minute.
Sorry.
It's okay, it's good. I love you.
You guys are amazing. Thank you guys. Melissa, Luz, Jack, Ashley, Mike,
Ali.
Ali and Ashley, thank you guys for
is there any
guiding
key
us.
takeaways you guys can emphasize on the importance of recovery coaching and the impact it has?
I don't think there's just no words really to describe how important and impactful it is. And I think how much it has changed each of our lives. You know, it's given me purpose. And, you know, at the beginning, I couldn't even grasp the concept of the word purpose because I didn't think I had anything to offer. But through being coached and becoming a coach and hopefully, you know, taking it out into the community, that is my purpose. And I, you know, Jack has touched on it a bunch. You know, we are so passionate about this, and we work with like-minded people, and we are surrounded by like-minded people all the time, and that keeps us going. That keeps me going. You know, that definitely keeps me going. So.
Thank you, Melissa. Takeaways, anybody else? Anybody want to touch on it before we move on?
Mike, you got a takeaway? I'm just joking.
You're funny.
Okay, well, we are gonna stick around for a little bit, so if people wanna ask one-on-one questions, we'll be available for that. Don't forget there's snacks over there, and, thank you all for being here today.
Oh, look at that. Whole blurry. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We stole this. This is amazing.
Sorry. You're my rock.
Yeah.